We've been hiding names and bumps and pregnancies and marriages and everything for years. And at grandchild 13, are you like losing it at this point?
If you thought the Kardashians had exhausted drama, think again. Today, we're unpacking a tiny Instagram comment that blew up into the kind of public narrative only this family can manufacture. Because when Kourtney Kardashian casually denies a pregnancy rumor, the whole internet takes it personally. And Kim Kardashian, whether she said it or not, is suddenly the pop culture weather vane everyone wants to read. All right, let's get into it. Kourtney posted a sun-soaked carousel from Italy. She was eating pancakes and jumping off cliffs, living her best life. And somewhere in the comments, a follower suggested she was pregnant again. And Kourtney, being Kourtney, didn't let it slide. She clapped back with a breezy denial, writing that she was simply enjoying gelato, focaccia, pasta, breastfeeding, and not working out, which is basically the modern woman's mic drop against unsolicited baby speculation. This episode is a textbook, a casual comment, a quick denial, and a people story that turns a private moment into a public lesson about boundaries and body surveillance. This isn't new. Kourtney has been fielding these messages since before Rocky. She's no stranger to scrutiny after IVF and motherhood, and her blunt replies have become part of a larger pattern. Not a one-off social media misfire. The People piece traces prior instances where followers speculated, and Kourtney responded with equal parts wit and boundary setting, which is how she's chosen to manage the outrage machine, by refusing to perform private reassurance for the internet. That strategy lands differently depending on your politics, your appetite for celebrity intimacy, and whether you think a public denial is empowering or performative. Now, where does Kim fit into this? The short answer from reporting so far is she hasn't publicly issued a statement specifically responding to this latest clarification. When a People reporter lays out Kourtney's denial, those articles don't include a fresh quote from Kim, which means any hot take that implies Kim screeched, gaslit, or hashtagged a reaction would be fabricated. That said, the public understands these sisters' history. They are performatively supportive one minute and strategically distant the next. And because Kim carries the biggest megaphone, skims, legal headlines, a multi-season reality machine, the media often projects a reaction onto her even when she's silent. If Kim didn't comment, why would this story be framed as Kim reacts? Because the Kardashian family is a brand as family machine. The moment one sister trends, the others orbit into relevancy by proximity, history, and public interest. Viewers and outlets alike project reactions onto Kim because she's the one with the biggest platform and the most to lose or gain from a narrative twist. The silence, that pregnant pause in social discourse, becomes a story in itself, a puzzle that fans and pundits pore over for meaning. And in this case, media context is everything. Kim's recent, much heavier revelations in the Kardashians' trailers about threats and personal safety add an emotional texture that turns small social media exchanges into potential plot beats for the show. Let's be blunt about the cultural stakes. When Kourtney denies a pregnancy rumor, it's not just about whether she's adding a baby to the family. It's about agency, body autonomy, and the way celebrity womanhood gets policed. The internet treats famous women's bodies as public property, and the Kardashian family, by virtue of their transparency and past performative reveals, both feed into and push back against the machine that makes private life public. Kourtney pushing back is a small act of reclaiming space, an insistence that her body and timeline are hers, not material for speculation-driven content. Of course, the family context piles on. Kris Jenner is still the queen pin pulling PR levers. Kim is balancing legal and personal turmoil. Khloe is navigating her own family arc, and the younger Jenners continue to generate their own headlines. The family's PR machinery is designed to convert domestic life into consumable cultural currency. And after Kourtney's clarification, she posted a family photo with Travis and Rocky, a move that reads like a soft PR reset and a visual reminder that normal life continues. Those follow-up images do the work of calming speculation while giving fans the content they crave. And can we talk about Travis Barker's role? He's not just a spouse, he's a narrative catalyst. Every time Travis's band plays a show or his kids do something viral, those moments become part of Kourtney's headline feed. Their blended family is full of performative, wholesome moments, Disneyland trips, on-stage drumstick tosses, candid family snaps that humanize them even as they commodify family life. Recent coverage of Rain getting a taste of the rock star life at a Blink-182 concert is exactly the kind of wholesome spectacle that redirects attention away from rumor chases. These family moments become buffers against the rumor mill. Now, let's pull back for a second and address the pattern, the Kardashian playbook of public denial and private life. Kourtney's IVF journey, the candid conversations on the Kardashians about body image, and the way the sisters publicly process emotional labor have conditioned audiences to expect stages of reveal, denial, clarification, and rerun. That loop keeps content fresh and makes sure there's always a next chapter. The problem is that the loop also normalizes the erosion of privacy, turning deeply personal processes into serialized entertainment. Kourtney's denial this time felt like deja vu because it matched a script fans have seen before. Not because anything sinister was happening, but because fame serializes life into repeatable beats. Let's be honest, the armchair psychologists will call this sibling rivalry, attention-seeking, or PR strategy, and they'll be partially right and partially reductive. The Kardashian family operates at the intersection of real emotional labor and career calculus. Their relationships have genuine tenderness and also transactional energy. Kim and Kourtney have had on-camera tiffs and behind-the-scenes disagreements, but they're also bound by mutual interest, keeping the brand alive while navigating their own private lives. This tension is what makes every Instagram comment feel like a canary in the coal mine of celebrity dynamics. So what does this episode mean for Kim's public persona? If she responded, it would be read through the lens of endorsement, correction, or family solidarity. If she didn't respond, silence would be interpreted as strategy, distance, or even indirect commentary. Either reading says something about power. Kim's silence is still an instrument. It can shield, obscure, or allow space for other narratives to breathe. Right now, Kim's calendar includes high-stakes legal matters, brand responsibilities, and a reality season teeming with heavier beats that demand her attention, which makes selective engagement a practical choice rather than a slight. Let's zoom out to the media system that makes all of this possible. Attention capitalism rewards speculation. A single speculative comment begets an avalanche of content, reaction videos, think pieces, listicles, and late-night takes. Kourtney's denial didn't just stop gossip, it created content for a dozen creative microeconomies. That's unavoidable. The modern celebrity cycle is powered by an ecosystem that turns the smallest human gestures into extended narratives. The ethical question remains, do we have to amplify every private rumor into a public drama that profits off people's lives? The answer is no, but the incentives are very sticky. But let's not lose the human in the spectacle. Kourtney is a mother of 4, Penelope, Mason, Rain, and Rocky, and navigating public scrutiny while parenting is exhausting. People's articles on the subject reminded readers of Kourtney's openness about body changes after IVF and how that shaped her relationship with her body. And it's worth remembering that scrutiny is not abstract. It hits people's sense of self. Public shaming and unsolicited predictions about mom bodies are ancient tendencies given new, instantaneous platforms. Kourtney's stance is a small but significant pushback against that culture. There's choreography to these denials. Post photo, receive comment, deny, post family photo, and move on. It's a rhythm we've seen across celebrity culture, and in Kourtney's case, the cadence also functions as emotional self-defense. Her quick clapback cuts the rumor off at the knees, and then the family photo reasserts normalcy. It's both PR savvy and human, a move that says, this thing is not mine to discuss, while still offering fans an image to hold on to. That balance between boundary setting and content production is the tricky art of modern fame. We also have to call out the uglier side, the public policing of women's bodies enforced by fandom and media. The reflex to ask whether a woman is pregnant from her outfit or pose is part of a gendered script that strips autonomy. When Kourtney wrote eating pancakes and jumping off cliffs, it was funny, but it was also a firm boundary, a reminder that bodies exist outside of speculation. The cultural takeaway is that curiosity should not become ownership. Famous people do not forfeit the right to privacy simply because they share parts of their lives. Contextually, the family's current media landscape amplifies small moments into potential plot beats. The new season teasers for the Kardashians suggest heavier material, threats, secrets, and vulnerability, which turns smaller interactions into potential narrative clues. Production teams and PR folks understand how to weave tiny social media threads into wider story arcs, and that serialized approach invites fans to play detective. A routine denial thus becomes an episode of communal speculation, and the show's producers and audiences both feed off that curiosity. If you're waiting for a dramatic Kim clapback in all caps, you might be waiting a long time. Silence can be louder than any tweet, and that strategic non-response is a move in itself. Kourtney's quick reply did what it needed to do. She denied the rumor, laughed off the speculation, and then shared normal family moments. The family keeps moving, and the media keeps shaping their moves into storylines. That's the reality of the content economy. Spectacle is perpetual. Let's break down the machinery so we can see the gears turning. First, social proof. A rumor that a celebrity is pregnant travels faster than most because it promises a change in status, a narrative pivot that resets everything from brand collaborations to TV arcs. So when a follower typed, "You're pregnant," under Kourtney's Italy photos, that whisper became the first domino. Kourtney's reply was a small, sharp corrective that deflated the speculation before it mutated into stranger theories. Second, family optics. The Kardashians operate with a peculiar mix of intimacy and theater. They are emotionally proximate enough that a sister's comment could change a narrative, but also publicly performative enough that silence can be repurposed by outside storytellers. Kim, who is balancing entrepreneurial peaks and public vulnerabilities, is the family's loudspeaker by trade, but she is also practiced in brand diplomacy. Choosing not to comment doesn't mean indifference. It might mean prudence. Third, PR instincts. Kris Jenner's influence functions as a strategic guide for how the family disperses information. She understands the attention economy, and that the momager can turn a rumor into a content cycle that benefits product lines and show ratings. Post-clarification, Kourtney's Italy photo and the follow-up family picture read like a soft PR reset. Intimacy that functions as a public relations balm and a way to deliver high-engagement content without manufactured drama. Fourth, the normalization of speculation and the harm it causes. This pattern is damaging because it normalizes the idea that women's bodies are open to public commentary. When fans speculate on someone's pregnancy status, they aren't just discussing gossip. They're participating in a cultural script that views female bodies as public property. Kourtney's blunt denial is therefore not only a humorous clapback, but also a reclamation of agency. A reminder that a woman can exist free of other people's narratives. Fifth, the reality of blended family visibility. Kourtney and Travis Barker's home life is a public tableau that includes kids, concerts, and shared vacations. Moments like taking kids to Disneyland or Reign's stage antics are the wholesome content that deflates rumor engines by showing ordinary rhythms. Travis's public presence, a rock star father who posts about his kids and whose band ties into family moments, amplifies those humanizing stories even as it feeds the public appetite. Sixth, the narrative economy. Outlets love conflict because conflict retains attention. A denial becomes a clarification, and clarification becomes a headline. That escalation fetishizes personal agency and distills private realities into two-sentence hot takes. Responsible reporting would contextualize and consider the human cost, and that's where many outlets still need work. The People coverage in this case did a decent job by quoting Kourtney directly and adding helpful background to avoid pure rumor churn. Seventh, the anatomy of modern celebrity silence. Silence can be weaponized or sanctified depending on how it's narrated. Kim's silence in response to this dust-up shouldn't be read as evidence of tension by default. It may be strategic. She is steering bigger ships right now. Legal battles, brand obligations, and a new season of the Kardashians with heavier beats, and her choices about when to engage are tactical. In that sense, not saying anything is not a failure of sisterhood, but a deliberate brand decision. Eighth, what this means for everyday consumers of culture. For viewers, this episode is an opportunity to reflect on media consumption. Do we need to know if a 46-year-old public figure is pregnant? Do we need to parse every pasta bite for evidence? The ethical answer should be no. Curiosity should be balanced by respect. But from an attention economy perspective, our clicks and comments feed the very beast that manufactures these rumors. So our responsibility isn't just to the celebrities, it's to each other. Finally, the human truth. These are real people with real feelings. Social media speculation has consequences beyond headline fodder. It affects sleep, health, and how women feel in their bodies. Kourtney's refusal to be reduced to a rumor, her straightforward eating pancakes line, was a small act of self-defense. It's also a reminder to audiences to be kinder and to recognize that behind every viral thread is a person whose privacy was chipped away, one comment at a time. So here's the bottom line. Kourtney shut it down with humor and clarity, the family continued their vacation ritual, and posted more content to keep the narrative moving. And Kim, whether she chimed in or not, remains the family's most visible amplifier who now chooses her moments carefully. That calculus of when to speak and when to stay silent is the quiet power play of modern celebrity, and it's why a pancake photo can become a national conversation. Let's not pretend this is just idle gossip. This tiny exchange operates like a pressure gauge for the family's public temperature. Fans read subtext into vacation snaps because the Kardashians have trained an entire ecosystem to mine those subtexts. Merch drops, show beats, lawyer updates, and even grieving moments become signals. A denied pregnancy rumor isn't a shrug. It's a data point in a larger narrative about control. Kourtney's brisk correction recalibrates that gauge and forces the media treadmill to pivot from speculation back to the family's chosen storylines, which, in practical terms, means fewer manufactured headlines and more curated moments they actually want us to see. And let's be real, the ripple effects matter. This kind of micro-drama tests alliances, informs PR moves, and occasionally stains reputations when outlets spin silence into subterfuge. For viewers, it's a reminder that not every paused beat on social media is a cliffhanger. Sometimes it's simply someone protecting space. For the Kardashian clan, it's another lesson in message discipline. Deny the rumor, normalize the family image, and move the narrative toward what they control: kids, vacations, brands, and whatever emotional truth they're ready to air next. And just so we're clear, these micro moments are rehearsal for bigger acts. How they handle a pancake rumor tells us how they'll handle a custody fight, a leaked message, or a season-defining confession. The family treats public attention like currency, and every denial, duet, or deleted comment is an investment in narrative control. Fans and journalists react, advertisers take notes, and the showrunners file it all away for future episodes. For the audience, it's a reminder that what feels like intimacy is often choreography. And for the Kardashians, it's another chance to turn noise into the story they actually want us to buy. Here's the kicker. The flap is tiny, but the attention economy around it is enormous. One comment becomes a denial, the denial becomes a headline, and the headline becomes content for countless reaction cycles that feed off each other. Kim's larger arc, legal battles, new show teasers, personal safety scares, adds weight to even small social media exchanges, which in turn makes silence seem meaningful where it may simply be strategic. The human detail remains. Children still play, Travis still tours occasionally, and Kourtney still models family life on her terms. So yes, it's a story about celebrities, but it's also a story about how we choose to narrate other people's lives. If you care about culture and empathy, let this be a reminder to demand better from the rumor mill. Hit subscribe, drop your take below, and remember to be a little kinder online. Thanks.